Okay, so hello everyone. This is the session for MIT 101T, which is your modern analytical techniques in uh, this chromatography. We have started our discussion since uh, some of the previous sessions we have covered. So this is a session we want to cover on HPLC. Already in the last session of this, I have discussed with you what are the various components of HPLC with respect to their instrumentation, with respect to the some of the basics, especially we have seen where we have seen what is called this resolution, the capacity factor, and selectivity coefficient. So all of this we have seen. So basically, chromatogram, that what is called Gaussian curve, and these many concepts we. Yes. So nowadays that is also applicable to non-colored compounds also in the HPLC diagram which we have seen, that is like this, which is consist of the pump, column, kind of detectors and the collectors. Injector is also a part of this. So we have seen that several kinds of peaks, such as what can be a Gaussian peak, what is called peak fronting, peak tailing, and resolutions. This is Gaussian, which is a kind of symmetrical peak that is considered as an ideal peak in chromatography. But these other peaks, such as peak fronting, tailing, resolution, shoulder, baseline drift, they are the poor kinds of peaks which are observed in chromatography. So this is the best peak which we generally wish to prefer in case of HPLC. So Gaussian peak is a symmetrical peak, and that is like this. But why? What could be the reason for the poor peaks which we are obtaining? The reason for this may be our mobile phase, maybe with the concentration, or it may be with the nature of stationary phase, where it is not okay. I need to say whether it has absorbed the moisture or it has obtained something else. Fine. So then we have discussed what is called dead time, is called dead volume, and retention time. So retention time is the time of the compound which is required to elute 50% of the concentration of the unretained or retarded substance. So that we generally term as a retention time. So that is retention time, maybe in minutes or generally minute में ही होता है. That is always on the x-axis of the chromatogram. Okay, so date volume is what I have given a simple example. Let us say there is a distance between what is called Lal Darwaza Patang Hotel and then this is LM College of Pharmacy. So if we wish to set a pipeline, water pipeline in between these two destinations, so immediately at t is equal to 0 type, if somebody open up the trap at Lal Darwaza Patang Hotel, then at t is equal to 5, let us say water will come out. So that is what called as dead time, and the volume which is there in pipeline, that is called as the dead volume. So if it is applicable to destinations between Lal Darwaja Patang Hotel and this LM College of Pharmacy, then this is also applicable to HPLC, where the dead volume or dead time may be in some micro minutes or seconds as well. Okay, we don't know about this, but it is mentioned over here that retention time. This is a first peak which is eluted or something which has come out from column chromatography from the HPLC column. So that time is called as the date time, and the volume is called as the date volume. So retention time is a kind of a time to uh, elute the 50% of the compound out from the column chromatography. So that is retention time. And capacity factor, this is a formula, selectivity factor and resolutions. We have seen all of these formulas. So friends, be ready for these kinds of formulas, because some kinds of questions may be asked in your second MCQ. Although I don't encourage always you people to earn the marks, because marks are your temporary performance, not the absolute performance of your caliber. But yes, these are the formulas which you need to remember for calculations of the resolution. So Gujarat in dictionary meaning of resolution means if the points are very close to each other, then what is the sensitivity of that instrument to distinguish these two points apart from each other. मतलब दो स्पॉट एक दूसरे के नजदीक ही है, पर इंस्ट्रूमेंट कितना सेंसिटिव है कि दोनों क्लोजर पॉइंट्स को वो डिस्टिंग्विश कर पाता है. सो दैट इज व्हाट कॉल एज द resolution. A resolution you will also come across when you will be doing molecular modeling, especially pharmacology and pharmacochemistry friends in semester 2. They shall be learning the molecular modeling or principles of drug discovery through molecular docking. So उस time पे भी you will also visit this term what is called as the resolution. Here is that something called resolution is dependent upon retention time and dead volume. Here the resolution is dependent. In case of that, it is dependent for some other parameters where the biologics has been really involved in this. Right? So these are the basics of separation. I mean to say for resolution, this is the formula. WA and WB, they are nothing but they are the width of the baselines of particular two peaks, A and B. Okay, so friends, these are the resolution. Ideally, the resolution should be greater than 1.25. Ideally, it should be 1.25 because you can see on this slide that when we have resolution 1.25, then this two uh, peaks are completely separated from each other. So 100% or near about 100% separation is achieved when we have resolution of 1.25. Fine. So here resolution is, let us say, 0.75. So that is, you can see the two peaks are not completely separated. But the resolution 1, there is a little lacking that here we can say that both the peaks are not fully separated. But when the resolution is 1.25, you can observe that these two peaks are completely separated. So that is what called excellent and ideal separation. This is not ideal separation as well as this is not a separation because two of the peaks have been merged. Then we have seen all of these parameters, which generally highlights that what should be the values of all these parameters so that we can achieve the ideal separation. So in general, the message of this slide is that upon as the number of plates increases, separation increases. As the capacity factor increases, separation increases. And mostly that is the resolution also increases, separation is also increases. Right. Then plate number is a one of the concept which is based upon the distillation. The distillation का जो यहाँ से origin हुआ है, so that is dependent upon the concepts of somehow called plates. So here also some plates number are applicable in chromatographic technique, and in this regard, here we have come across a particular kind of curve, what is called as a Van Winter curve. You the people have already learned this warm temperature curve during your B.Pharm semester. Maybe I don't remember whether it is fifth or sixth, but when I was studying, I have learned this warm temperature curve in my seventh semester B.Pharm in the year 2012. Okay, so here one temperature curve looks like this: HU is equal to A plus B upon U plus C into U. Where U is basically, इसमें कभी-कभी I could not, people are also writing as a mu instead of writing small letter U. So what is called A and what I call H? H is nothing but H is called as HETP, height equivalent to theoretical plates, where it is a kind of formula, which a kind of quantity which can be calculated for distinguishing the effective separation of the this components. Fine. Then a is your added diffusion factor, and which is a contribution which is obtained from eddy diffusion. So diffusion is generally a kind of term which means for movement of the electrolytes, movement of solutes from higher concentration to lower concentration. And B is a kind of factor which is generally called as longitudinal diffusion. That is also kind of diffusion, but the majorly it is longitudinal, not neither axial nor vertical, but with respect to the longitudes, this is a this diffusion is observed. And a diffusion means random. There is no kind of perfect direction. Just like if I are during this COVID-19, if you go to somehow vegetable market or some sabji mandi, you will come across that people are not maintaining social distance as well as not wearing the mask. So that is a kind of the random behavior which is not accepted. But moment you go to, let us say, some foreign country, you will observe that you must have to wear the mask and will have to maintain the social distance, etc. So that is what kind of fixed uh, behavior the people are adopting. So similarly, added diffusion is random. Nobody, or whatever the molecules, solutes, or electrolytes are behaving randomly. Their movement is here and there, and there is no kind of uh, uniqueness in their diffusion. But for the purpose of this longitudinal diffusion, there is a specific molecules are moving with respect to their longitudes. So that is a I mean to say disciplined diffusion where the molecules are behaving very well, or the diffuser is in a systematic manner. In other words, we can say the mass transfer factor is the third factor which is involved there in determination of this height equivalent to theoretical fluid. What is called mass transfer? You people have already heard the heat transfer. जैसे heat का transfer होता है, similarly mass का भी transfer होता है. In the if there is certain moment, there is certain kinetic movements in the molecules. So that is also called as a mass transfer. Okay, so these are the three factors which are majorly involved. Added diffusion, which is denoted by A, longitudinal diffusion denoted by B, and the third factor that is called as mass transfer factor, where the mass is transferred. Mass, you know that the mass, what is the quantity of a mass? So weight is equal to W is equal to M into G, where M is your mass and G will be your gravitational acceleration constant, 9.08 centimeter per second square. Fine. So this mass is transformed. There is a difference between your weight and mass. आप जब अस्पताल जाते हो या फिर अपना वेट करवाने जिम में जाते हो, तो जो आप वेट करते हो ना, that is your weight. That is not your mass. Remember this. Okay, so this is the way that what is the quantity of a mass of a substance that is transferred from one portion of column to other portion of the column. So that is also considered in the calculations of one diameter curve. And this is actually the behavior of three different plots, 1, 2, and 3, where 1 is actually your added diffusion factor. You can see added diffusion factor is independent of the velocity millimeter in second. Height equivalent to theoretical plate. Added diffusion factor is independent of the rate of the mobile phase. This is x-axis is nothing but your velocity. Mu is not mu or u is nothing but that is the velocity. What is the distance traveled by some solute or some electrolyte in some specific amount of time, that is called as the velocity. Okay, so added diffusion factor is the number one that is denoted over here, that is completely independent of this velocity. But the second factor you can see, this is as the velocity increases, you can see that the rate of the height equivalent to theoretical plate decreases. That's why in this formula H is equal to V upon mu. So that mu is inversely proportional, or height equivalent to theoretical plate is inversely proportional to velocity. The third mass transfer factor, as we people know that this is kind of kinetic movement or dynamic movement, where if the velocity increases, then this mobile phase का जो ये height equivalent to theoretical plate, that is also increases. So because of this, this is the number 3, that is in a kind of linear fashion, that is continuously moving. As the velocity increases, height equivalent to theoretical plate also increases. Okay, so this is a curve which was given by a scientist. So from his name, this is termed as a van Meter curve. And this way, it is explaining the relationship between the flow of the velocity and the theoretical plate height, or height equivalent to theoretical plates. And what will be the reason for this band broadening? So you have seen sometimes we are observing fronting, sometimes we are observing tailing. So there is a specific reason for this. Maybe the number one is longitudinal diffusion and column defects. That is also one of the factors, as well as somehow turbulent kind of turbulences are there, which is in a movement of this mobile phase. That's why this may happen. ઓકે સો ટર્બ્યુલન્સ એટલે બીજું કઈ નહીં પણ ગુજરાતીમાં જેને કહીએ તો વંટોળ. સો બીકોઝ વંટોળ પાણીમાં કઈ રીતે આવે તો કે તમે દરિયા કિનારે ગયા હો ત્યારે જોયું હોય તો લોકો અમુક પાણી ઉપર એ કંઈક સમથિંગ બોટ કે પેડ મૂકીને એ લોકો રાઇડિંગ કરતા હોય છે. આઈ ડુ નોટ નો વોટ ઇઝ કોલ્ડ ઇટ બટ યસ અને એમાંય તે પછી અમુક ને જે સારા સારા આ રીતના ડાઈવર્સ કે એ લોકો હોય છે એ લોકો શું કરે કે વંટોળ આવેલું હોય પાણીનું સમુદ્રમાં તો એની ઉપર એ તરાવતા પેલું પેડ લઈને કરતા હોય છે. So that is a kind of skill or art or because of these kinds of the turbulence. So some kind of turbulence which is created in our mobile phase, so that is also creating this band broadening. Data diffusion is also a kind of band broadening. We have discussed all these various flow paths, which is a kind of random diffusion, and that is independent of this small. As the smallest is particle size, then homogeneous packages that is basically minimizes the array diffusion. Longitudinal diffusion is like this, where some people, the things are moving in some specific rate, and it is achieved only at a slow, very low speed. And the third factor that is called as a mass transfer factor, which is a dominant factor because as the mobile phase velocity increases, this height equivalent to theoretical plane is also increases. This is one of the diagram which is correlating with resolution and this speed and injection volume. So one way we can understand that आपका स्पीड ज्यादा होगा तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको सबसे ज्यादा सेपरेशन मिलेगा. If your speed is optimum, then you will obtain this better resolution. Secondly, if your injection volume is higher, then also you will obtain the poor resolution. So that's why it is suggested that your concentration, your injection volume should be as much as low to obtain the efficient separation. Because HPLC is an instrument that can sense even your microgram quantity of compound. Microgram means 10 raised to minus 6. So you can achieve this much sensitivity with the help of HPLC, and that is also dependent upon which kind of detector is used in HPLC. Okay, so it is mentioned over here. If you increase the speed, resolution gaya. If you decrease the injection volume, you will obtain the better resolution. So that's why it is suggested at optimum speed, and that is having a decrease injection volume. And similarly, some other parameters are also mentioned that even if you increase in the temperature, reduction in viscosity of mobile phase, so that will also promote the mass transfer factor, and corresponding effects are also observed in this. Now, where we are increasing the temperature, because whatever the column we are observing in HPLC, that is capped in column O1. So all column O1 is the place where we are keeping the HPLC column, and temperature is maintained with the help of this column O1. Okay, so that is why this is a magic triangle which is explaining, which can correlate the speed, injection volume and resolution. As such, उसका कोई triangle ही है. उसको ट्रायंगल इसलिए बोला है कि स्पीड इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द रेजोल्यूशन, रेजोल्यूशन इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द इंजेक्शन वॉल्यूम एंड स्पीड बोथ कोरिलेट्स द रेजोल्यूशन. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड एज अ ट्रायंगल. जैसे आपके कोई तीन अच्छे दोस्त होंगे तो आप उनको नाम देते होंगे ट्रायंगल. कोई दो अच्छे दोस्त है तो उसको बोलते हो कि दे आर द, और लाइक वैसे जैसे नाम होते हैं. सो दिस इज सिमिलरली kind of two factors which together are controlling the resolution. इसीलिए इस triangle को बोलते हैं magic triangle. Magic triangle इसीलिए है कि if you could optimize the injection speed or if you could optimize this volume, you will be better able to understand the resolution, injection volume and the speed. ओके इसीलिए ट्रायंगल बोला है, अदरवाइज ट्रायंगल की भी जरूरत नहीं है. और मैजिक नाम इसलिए रखा है क्योंकि आप वंस यू फॉर योर प्रोटोकॉल इफ यू कुड ऑप्टिमाइज द इंजेक्शन वॉल्यूम एंड the speed means velocity of mobile phase, the flow rate of mobile phase. If you can maintain this, then you can achieve the better resolution. Generally in HPLC, for I have used HPLC for qualitative estimation of the synthesized compounds to determine their purity. So for this purpose, generally it is considered 1 ml per 1 minute. So that is the flow rate generally we are keeping. But you say we come flow rate, there is no issue with that. ओके, अदरवाइज इसमें मैजिक नाम रखने से कोई जादू वादू नहीं, सो बस उसका नाम ही इसलिए रखा है क्योंकि दीज आर द मेजर फैक्टर्स, मैजिक करके इसमें कुछ नहीं है। ओके, सैंपल साइज इज आल्सो one of the more predominant. जैसे फ्लैश में भी if we are using or even normal chromatography, if you use a higher amount of silica, then बन गया आपका काम, बैठे रहो कॉलम करने के लिए 2 दिन के लिए, कॉलम खत्म भी नहीं हो, और आपने थोड़ा सा adequate amount of silica लिया है, which is sufficient according to the quantity of your compounds for separation, then you can achieve the better separation. So here some graphs are shown that if you have 1 microgram per gram of silica, then it is okay. But if you are using 100 microgram per gram of silica, then it is overloaded. Okay, so this is the way that separation is mentioned. We have, till the time we the people have learned the basics of instrumentation, basics of this so basics of the chromatographic techniques. Now HPLC, in this we have learned this. Now further we are going to learn what is called the instrumentation part. This is more important because you the people shall be working on your HPLC projects for semester 3 and semester 4 for your with your research supervisor in your next coming semesters. So that's why before you start your project on HPLC, or before you, whether you are a phytochemist or medicinal chemist, or whether you are a person from analytical analyst, whether you are an analyst, so in all those considerations, even for formulation, what are the formulation you people will shall be developing, that has to be analyzed through HPLC to come to know that how many components are present in your formulations. So for the validation of your formulation, thing is important as well. Right? So let us jump to this in introduction part, where the first and foremost thing is a pump. Pump is generally used in HPLC for the purpose of what? For the purpose of pumping your solvents into the column, because that is also essential, where you will be injecting whatever the pump with the injecting your solvents, injecting your sample, and also mobile phase or solvent or mobile phase, दोनों से भी है, such there is no difference. So that's why pumps are used. And what are the types of the pump? जैसे आप pump is nothing new, that आप घर पे भी होंगे, हॉस्टल में रहते होंगे, पीजी में रहते होंगे, तो at certain a time अहमदाबाद म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन will be giving the water supply, जैसे वो आप पानी भरना पड़ता होगा, और ऐसा नहीं है तो फिर दिन what can be with the help of your motor, जो मोटर में भी एक तरह का पानी वाटर पंप होता है. So with the help of that water pump, you will be filling the top tank capped at the top of the your terrace, right? Or so in that way that water tank is completely filled, and then you are having enjoying the water for the purpose of daily routine. So similarly, if water is required, the pump is required to pump to fill the overhead tank. So similarly, these things are also these pumps are also required to pump the solvents, the samples into the mobile phase. Okay. So, friends, this is a kind of pump, what is called as a pneumatic pump, where generally these larger flow capacity and piston type of the pumps are observed, right? Fine. So this is the way that air one, which is particular kind of the air which will come out, and that will moment some air will come inside from here, so that air will this is basically a piston. So what it will do, it will give some pressure, and because of this pressure, whatever the solvent which has come from the reservoir, so that will be under the influence of this piston, this will move towards the sample valve. Okay, so before I explain this thing to you, generally when I used to explain this pneumatic का मतलब होता है is upon the air. Air means this aerial pump. Pneumatic pump का मतलब होता है that is based upon the pressure of the air. So जैसे कि here is a pure piston which is modulated with the help of the air. So this is the air inlet of the air, as well as this is the outlet of the air. Now how this pump works? So the piston का जो T portion है, the bottom portion is controlling the pumping of the solvent reservoirs. And here generally, so this is where the solvent reservoirs, from where, from the bottle of the solvents, the solvent will be generally coming. So because of this, and these valves are completely called as a non-return valves. Non-return valves means something can go on towards one side, but they cannot come to the back side. जैसे आपने कोई ऐसा बलून देखा होगा कि उसको आप फिल कर सकते हो, और उससे हवा बाहर निकल नहीं सकती है। जैसे कि वो छोटे बच्चे जो होते हैं ना, उनको नहाने के लिए वो एक छोटा सा ट्यूब, रिंग होती है ट्यूब, जिसमें वो बैठ के नहा सकते हैं। तो उसमें आप एयर एक साइड ही एंटर कर सकते हो, पर उसको फिर वापस वो एयर निकल नहीं सकती। सो सम बलून्स आर आल्सो अवेलेबल, तो उसमें छोटा सा एक नॉन रिटर्न वाल्व भी होता है। यू कैन फिल द एयर इनसाइड, बट दैट एयर कैन नॉट कम आउटसाइड। उसके लिए फिर निकालना है तो देयर कैन बी ऑल्टरनेटिव वे, और दैट इज आल्सो अवेलेबल। Okay, so non-return valve are the valve which will allow only to enter, but something cannot exit from the same valve. उसको निकालना है तो फिर दूसरा valve चाहिए. So similarly here also something called non-return valve is there, which is from the solvent reservoir, from the solvent bottles. Once this portion will be filled, piston and with the pressure of the air will move the piston downwards. As the piston moves downwards, the downward movement of the piston force the solvent present over here to move in the front. वापस तो नहीं जा सकते, इसलिए वो towards the sample valve it will move. Okay, so this is a kind of instrumentation which is all something, all the text portion I already highlighted over here. You can go through the same thing for your reading. The another kind of the pump is called as the syringe pump. This pump is exactly based upon the syringe. સિરિંજ એટલે બીજું કઈ નહીં, હમણાં હોળી આવશે બરાબર, 2-3 મહિના પછી તમે પિચકારીથી તમે નહીં રમો, પણ તમે શેરીમાં છોકરાઓને જોયા હશે. You might have seen certain kids playing with their water balloons and etc. their equipments also. So that injecting device, similarly like injection device, this is the concept. This आपने injection device देखा होगा. There is something called plunger. So here also this is an instrument where this is called mobile phase reservoir with the help of this motor refill and piston. So it is a kind of driver control is also there, and then solvent which is over there that will move towards the. It is called simply as a syringe pump. There is nothing new in this case. This another pump is called as single piston reciprocating pump. So this is based upon the single piston, and applications of is also that certain kind of driving motor, and uh, although these are the features of this, that driving motor is there, and whatever it will here it shall service once it will go back. So once it will go back, then it will try to suck the solvent from the reservoir and shall this fill this reservoir, and in the with the help of this motor and crank, once it will move forward, so in the pressure of in the influence of this solvent will move towards the column. And here also there are certain called non-return valves, and the particular cylinder is there, sapphire piston is there, and these things are possible. Okay, so single piston reciprocating pump is over there, and that is very much essential for this thing. But single piston का एक limitation है, क्या limitation होगा? This is not giving a constant pressure. Why? Because something is there which is coming from the solvent reservoir. So with the once this piston will go back, then solvent reservoir से वो solvent ऊपर आएगा, फिर piston है वो आगे जाएगा, then the solvent will go move forward. Again, what will happen? This piston will go back, and the solvent will come here, and then the piston will come here. So solvent will go towards the reservoir. So this way, if it goes the back, it will suck and fill the reservoir. If it comes forward, then the solvent will move towards the forward. But here there is no constant pressure. Constant pressure means जब आपका पंप सक होता है ना, तब वहां पर ऊपर कोई सॉल्वेंट कॉलम की ओर नहीं पहुंचता है. Are you following me? Because this pump is like this. When it will go back, then this is filled. उसी time पे the solvent reservoir is not solvent is not moving towards the column. इसीलिए इसका जो limitation है ना, that is not having the constant pressure. So how can we overcome? The overcome is the twin piston pump. This is an excellent pump which can give this both these things in that will help you to understand this concept of twin piston pump. I'm not sure because I have certain kinds of uh, previously this was running, I think, but now because of something it is not running. But no issue with that. This is a pump which consists of two uh, pistons together. So how the way this is done, because that is based upon the two pistons. So one piston, if it goes backside, then other piston will move towards the front side. So and then one piston will come back, the other piston will move forward. So with the help of these two pistons together, continuously there shall be movement of the solvent from the reservoir to this uh, uh, column. So I'm not sure because whether you people could understand this two piston pump or not. So when we have only one piston, then the question is that if something if the reservoir is filled, then solvent is not reaching to the column. So that's why it is on non-constant pressure, although it is moving continuously, but when it goes back, so at the same moment solvent is not moving towards the column. But if we have two pistons together and aligned in this direction, so one piston will move backside at the same time other piston will move forward. When this top piston or one of the piston which will be moving from the backside, at the same time one piston will move forward. So this way, although I don't have to do boxing, but friends, in this case, there are two pistons are available, and these two pistons are continuously sucking the solvents, filling the reservoirs, and sending the solvents towards the column. So actually, you can imagine like that. Let me show my laser pointer so that I'm not why I have exceeded from this. Yes. So hope that shall be visible to you and I am going for my pointer options. Yes. So twin piston pump is like this. Once you will fill the reservoir, solvent will come here because this piston will go towards the backside. And then this will be moving forward. So under the influence of this shall be moving. Fine, but usi time pe both this piston, so when this will be moving forward, this will be going towards the backside. So that way it will allow the entry of the reservoir towards the column. And we can achieve nearly about 40 megapascal pressure with the help of this. It is also mentioned when one pump is being filled, other is delivering the solvent. Yes. When one pump is being filled, other pump is delivering the solvent. When the other pump is being filled, the first pump is delivering the solvent. So this way, twin piston pump. Twin नाम इसीलिए दिया है कि both the pistons, both the these pumps, only one pump here, but both the pistons are working together. That's why there they have given the name twin piston pump. Solvent programmers. Solvent program. This is basically era of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So what we can do, we the people can give the commands to the instrument, and in the computer can work on behalf of it. Even the robotics. This is an excellent era because nowadays the people are more worried about the COVID-19, and we the people are taking the help of these e-platforms to educate ourselves so that we can do the things. So similarly, we can train computer programmers, and whether we want the gradient flow or whether we want isocratic flow, we can isocratic kind of mobile phase that we can obtain. Let me tell you what is the difference between isocratic and gradient. Isocratic means the composition of mobile phase that will remain same throughout your experiment. That is called isocratic. But gradient means there is you are changing at t is equal to 0 time. There shall be 5% hexane in ethyl acetate, 5%. At some time it may be 95%, or at some time it may be 25% hexane in ethyl acetate. So that kind of gradients we are giving with respect to the time and the concentration of mobile phase. That is called as a gradient. Isocratic means throughout the column chromatography, this mobile phase will remain constant. Okay, I'm not teaching anything new. You people have already learned in BFAM, but I'm trying to again revise to you people because this modern analytical techniques where HPLC is an important part of this. Okay, so first of all, the solvent will come to the pumps, and pumps are indicating handle with the help of computer programmers, and then the mixing T valve is there because mixing valve is there, and that will move towards the center. So that way, this high program solvent is there. This is also important part of injection because क्या होगा कि once we have prepared our sample and we might जैसे हम वो पिचकारी होती है ना या डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं तो इंजेक्शन देते हैं similar kind of injector is also used in this case but I have seen sometimes they are made up of glass or some specific kind of borosilicate glass these injectors ये वो simple plastic या फिर प्लास्टिक का भी यूज कर सकते हैं because I remember that during my PhDs for this qualitative estimation of synthesized compounds. This some of the injectors I have used and they are made up of polythene. So it's simple plunger type की जो injections होते हैं. So similar they have used. Glass injectors I have seen when the people are injecting the sample into mass spectrophotometer. और so फोटोमीटर तो नहीं बोलते बट मास स्पेक्ट्रोमीटर जनरली होता है क्योंकि मास इज द ओनली स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी वेयर रेडिएशंस आर नॉट यूज्ड. Okay, so injection device is simply like syringe is there on your presentation, which is like this, having a plunger, and that is having this device, and with the help of certain needle is also present. Rheodyne injector is one of the injector for this, and how the way it is injected. If you refer to the previous video in which we have seen, so something called before there is two position. One is called load, and other is called as the inject. Load is a position where you have to insert your injection into that. You will have to puncture the silicon valve or silicon Teflon valve is there, which can और resealable भी होता है. आप inject करो और वापस injection ले लो तो वापस resealable हो जाता है. ऐसा नहीं कि उसको inject करने से उसमें perforations, उसमें holes बन जाएंगे. This is a kind of resealable valve is there. तो उसमें the this load and inject is the part. Load is a part where once you will have to move some that injector, ये जो Rheodyne injector आपको दिखा रहे हैं, so this you valve you can move. So once you will load, you will plunge the syringe, and with the help of plunger and to allow the loading of your sample into the instrument, right? And then what you can do, then you have to make it towards the inject. So you have to just shift this one from the load to inject, so it will be injecting your solvent. What is actually happening with the help of this Rheodyne? So Rheo means nothing but Rheo means a kind of flow, and dynamics is also related to this. You people might have heard about rheology. जो शूटिंग्स में उन लोगों को पता होगा rheology is a science which is associated with kinetics, with the kind of movement. So here is also somehow kind of the movement, that is the movement of your solvent, the movement of your reservoir, the movement of your along sample. So how the way is this is a kind of load, and this is the diagram for the inject. Now let us understand first of all what is the difference between the load and what is the difference between the inject. So friends, here in a load, this is a part which is coming from the pump, and what was जो parts होते हैं ना, they are divided in the of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when the load is going on, what we are doing, generally it is moving from the pump, and that is coming to 3, then it is coming to 4, and then it is directly going to the column. That is called load. Okay, so now whatever the solvent which is coming from the pump, that is going to this 3, 4, and towards the column. So till that time, our At the time of loading, our solvent mixture is still in this pipeline. हमने जैसे ही उसको इंजेक्ट किया ना, तब वो मानो कि उधर का ये पाइपलाइन में ही फील्ड है, अंदर ही रहेगा. बट once we move towards the inject, जैसे ही आपने इंजन वाल्व को रोटेट कर दिया लोड से इंजेक्ट मोड पे, तो what has happened? It has happened that it was coming from the pump. It has went to three. Only the disconnection between, previously it was connected here, but now it is disconnected in this case. So it came to three, then it come to one, then with the help of this loop it has came to the five, then it came to four, and now it came to the right. And excess amount of this, that can be part of the waste. So some specific quantity of your injection sample which is present in your this loop, which will go inside the column, is extra material that will come outside as a waste. So this is what called as a rheodyne injector. So लोड के टाइम पे 3 और 4 के बीच में कनेक्शन होता है, 5 और 6 के बीच में कनेक्शन होता है, और इंजेक्शन के टाइम पे ये कनेक्शन डिसकनेक्शन हो जाता है, फिर कनेक्शन 2 और 3 के बीच और 4 और 5 के बीच. I repeat one more time because this will, you will not be able to understand maybe in a first instance. So two things are there. With the help of this valve, we can set by two modes of this injection. One mode is called as a load, other mode is called as a inject. At the time of load, we have to load our sample into the injection device at the point of insertion. Okay, and then we have to shift towards the inject mode so that we can inject the loaded sample into towards the column. कि आपका सैंपल जब कॉलम से पास होगा तभी तो सेपरेशन होगा, उससे पहले तो सेपरेशन हो नहीं सकता. सो दिस टू मोड्स आर देयर, लोड एंड इंजेक्ट. नाउ लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दिस लोडिंग एंड इंजेक्शन इज पॉसिबल. So when you are loading your sample, so at that time your sample is filled in this loop. Fine. But at the same time, some solvent which is coming from the pump, so that is going towards the 3 and 4 and then towards the column. So till that, during the loading, your sample has not moved towards the column. Remember this. During loading, your sample still is in the loop and that has not moved towards the column. When you inject, once you inject, then there is जो कनेक्शन था वो डिसकनेक्शन हो जाएगा और जो डिसकनेक्शन था वो कनेक्शन हो जाएगा. So that same thing has happened, that it is coming from the pump and it is moving to 3 2, then this it is coming to this loop and then it is moving to 5 4 and towards the column. This way whatever the sample that was filled in your loop, that has moved towards the column. So this is simply load and inject. आप वो वीडियो देखो which I have shared with you people on YouTube. तो उसमें वो जो वीडियो है ना यहाँ पे लोड और इंजेक्ट का दिखाते हैं. So this is a kind of injection device which is called as a rheodyne injector, which is one of the perfect one to introduce this concept. HPLC column, we have seen HPLC column also in that video, and HPLC column is also there. Several kinds of columns are available. Some columns are made up of chirally loaded silica. So those are called as C18 octadecyl columns are there. So these columns are also available for separation of chiral compounds. Okay, and this is a dimension of the mobile, this dimension of the column, and uske ye jo made some majority of the types they are made up of stainless steel and they are having particle size in micromolars at pore size in 100 300 angstrom as well. There is a difference between particle size and this pore size. Pore size means particle size means if particle is spherical shape, generally they are considered, and the whatever the void volume is there, that is called as a pore size. Okay. So if you refer this physical pharmacy by Martin and Martin, so you will see the several porosities or volume. This is one of the chapter. I forgot that chapter, the name of that, but it is also available. Several kinds of HPLC columns are available. Some columns are called as preparative, semi-prep or analytical as well. Preparative में क्या करते हैं? Preparative में if your quantity of the sample is very low, 10 to 30 micron, that is the particle size, and column is 5 to 200 millimeter, sample loading is generally carried out on gram scale. Semi-preparative is also there, where your purpose is not only the quantification, but along with quantification, you want to also perform this qualitative analysis. So in that case, also this is also useful. Analytical is also available, and HPLC solvents are there. These are the HPLC solvents and physical data of methanol, etc. HPLC solvent should be highly pure, because even if before you prepare your sample for HPLC, you will have to do it. You will have to filter it with the help of micron filter particle, micron filter paper. Then you will have to sonicate it. The reason is that पहले ही sonicate करना चाहिए, बाकी जो पार्टिकल बड़े बड़े पार्टिकल है वो टूट जाए स्मॉल पार्टिकल्स में, then you can filter them out and then you can use. But remember, these are the solvents which are used in HPLC. They are not simple solvents which are used in synthesis or which are used in routine purpose. They should be of HPLC grade. There should be no impurities, should be highly pure solvents. Along with that, they should not have any particulate matters. This pre-processing of the solvent is also required, even if they are commercially available and they are sold in some kind of bottles like this. Okay, so HPLC, UV transistor, refractive index, these are some of the parameters, viscosity, etc. And some other things are also available. This thing we have already discussed, what is called gradient and what is called isocritic. So depending upon two solvents, we can also utilize the HPLC basis. So with this, we will be stopping up to this, and we shall be restricting ourselves up to this. In the next coming lecture, I shall be starting my discussion from this onwards, so that we the people can learn many more concepts of HPLC on our coming discussion. Thank you so much.